Hi, everyone. This is Flavia Barbat from Branding Magazine, and we're here with Alyssa Altman, SapientNitro's VP and Managing Director for Canada in the Midwest. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about the work that she's doing. So, Alyssa, you have said that your goal was to build a very diverse team. And I think that's one of the really big topics that we've been discussing, not only with Sapient, but just, kind of across the board here at CAN. So I'm wondering, how did you go about building such a team? What were maybe some of the steps that you took, some of the considerations that you had, things like that?
So I first started off by creating not a leadership team, but I call them the Growth Ensemble. So we're actually an ensemble of people who work together and have an opportunity to connect with each other and think with each other. And what I first started with is, after I got the name, and I took some time to figure out what that name was going to be, because I think that really sets the foundation. Then I figured out who are the right skill sets of people that I need. And then what are the right people that have the mindset around collaboration and that also are passionate about their craft and the people that work for them? Because part of building a leadership team, a diverse leadership team, is making sure that those leaders are bringing that back to their team. And then the next piece was, I looked at the list and I said, okay, do I have enough diversity of people, gender, ethnicity? Does it really complete the picture of what we want to be bringing to our clients and how we want to be thinking about our clients' problems and opportunities?
That's great. And what are some of the benefits of diversity? What kind of effects have you seen it have so far?
There's a huge fearlessness around pulling people in. So in many cases, in my past experience, we had teams where people, stuck to the 4 or 5 people that they've always worked with. They might have been diverse, they might have not been diverse, but they weren't architected around diversity. And I think taking the time to really think that through builds that fearlessness where people realize when they look around the room, if they don't have the right people in the room, they go and get them.
Yeah. And how do you then align such different capabilities, different personalities, different backgrounds? How do you then align them around a specific purpose, both internally and externally?
So a lot of what we're focusing on at SapientNitro is our clients and their customers. So how do we bring value through that customer journey that we're developing with them, and through those business models that we're changing for them, and how do we bring the right people to do that? So getting everyone aligned around that very focused purpose around their customers and their clients' customers is the ultimate impact you're going to have on the world. So if you think about what you're putting in the world is going to have impact on someone, then that gives you more purpose, and it also lines up people around what they can do together as a team, even if they don't always agree, because it's good to not agree, because then you come up with a better solution.
Yeah, so are there any other maybe benefits of that? How have you seen this kind of purpose-driven mindset come out in the work or change the work that your team is creating?
So there's always an emphasis on quality, but there's this uber emphasis on quality where people are really enabling each other across the work that they're doing. So the technology people are enabling the creative people on the quality question, and vice versa. Rather than just focusing on the work they're doing and QAing their code, they're really QAing the whole solution, and it's really helping everyone to understand, the full dimensions of what they're putting out there.
And do you find yourself kind of explaining that to clients more and more? Is it difficult to basically take this approach and then kind of convince the clients to take the same journey or the same mindset, apply the same tools? Maybe
they love it. Recently we brought on a new client, and they visited our office, and I think like what they shared with us, it was like love at first sight, because I think as we brought them in the room, they saw a diverse group of people, a dynamic group of people that were passionate about their problems and what they wanted to solve, and brought forth like this engagement level that now they come to our office, they work from our office a few days a week, and they're great. Really like entwined, and they've looked at their team to make sure they're pulling in a broad spectrum of people across their organization.
Oh, that's great. And I think that a lot of this is probably driven very much by obviously technology and digital. So I'm wondering if if we talk just for a moment about some of those trends, have you seen more and more clients kind of back away from doing digital marketing just for the sake of doing so? And has that evolved into a more, similar to the mindset that you just showcased, into a more thoughtful, end-to-end experience vision, let's say?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because I think there's obviously a clear focus on business transformation. And in that, people aren't just looking at the pieces and parts, they're looking at how things come together. But they also, every organization is different and needs to start in different spots. So it's, a shared responsibility and a partnership with a client to figure out where are the right starting points and how not to just tactically solve the problem, but to think about the impacts of, the foundation that you're building at any point in the way.
That's great. I think one of my last questions is a little bit more specific. So you do a lot of work in e-commerce, and I'm wondering if there are any insights that you can share. Just maybe there are insights that apply to the industry more broadly that have come from that work specifically. It's tech, but it's also very much about the end-to-end customer journey. Is something that has been changing the game for a while now, but it still seems like there are a lot of businesses that are surprisingly a little bit behind still. Yes. in that overall experience. So maybe you can share some insights from the work that you've been doing there.
I think the one thing is sort of integrating the e-commerce with marketing and making it one. Not thinking about e-commerce as another storefront, but thinking about it as that foundation to go across your business to service your customer and be another tool in your marketing communications and how you're thinking about what you're bringing to the marketplace. Obviously, there's revenue involved when you have an e-commerce site, and it does feel like a store, but I think the experience people have on their phones, on their iPads, and on if they're using a PC, all have to be consistent. Even then, it needs to be consistent with when they walk in the store. So it's a whole ecosystem that needs to be aligned up. And I think the important thing is that they're just trying different things. So it feels like the experience right now might be a little disjointed because they're trying to figure out where are the pivot points that they start from to really engage the consumer and understand the consumer. And then how does that translate into something that's more consistent?
And maybe you can tell us what are some of your maybe recommendations for doing just that? Can you share maybe some of the things that you've said to clients before, or maybe some of the questions that you've had to answer in terms of this?
In the B2B space, which is really interesting from an e-commerce perspective because they have the longest way to go. And so that's where the opportunity is not to just do what we started with all the retailers and the B2C companies, but really think about what's next. And, when you think about chat bots and how does that play a role, many of these companies are engineering companies, so how do they bring that mindset to the solutions they're bringing their consumer? And I think it's starting really with an understanding of the consumer. So in many cases, we get asked to re-platform an e-commerce site. And that's really not where you start. You start where what you want to do for your customer and how you want to engage with them, and then you build the tools to do that. And obviously the same is true in marketing. And so that's why the two together play such a key role in how a market goes to market or how a company goes to market.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for watching. This was, again, Alyssa Altman from SapientNitro, and I'm Flavia Barbat. Be sure to check out our Con issue to hear more from the thought leaders here on the ground, and check out more videos.